something very strange has gone on with young women and around the world. They've swung very strongly left, much more than young men. The data's incredible. I mean, in Australia, the ABC's huge Vote Compass survey showed 2/3 of women aged under 29 identified as left or moderately left. And if you say, oh, well, young people, they're all left-wing before they wise up, only half the young men that age said they were left or moderately left. So 2/3 of women, but just half of men. And the weird thing is that the same has happened in the United States, a gap that's got much bigger over the past 5 years, so that young women from 18 to 29 are now much more left-wing than young men. A similar gap as you see here, 23 points. Or you look at Britain or Germany, South Korea, by the way, as well. Again, that growing gap between left-wing young women and more conservative young men. Joining me are Lisa Goddard, former foreign correspondent, founder of Adoni Media, and Sky News regular Joe Hildebrand. Lisa, congratulations on your marriage, by the way.
Thank you.
Why have young women become so much more likely than young men over the past few years to be left-wing?
Andrew, if I had that answer, the Liberal Party would be calling me right now. It's the great problem. They think by putting more women into leadership positions, they're going to solve this swing of young women moving to the left. And I think what you need to do is look at exactly how they've grown up. All of these women have come through in an era of social media. They've come through being told the world is ending, you've got the climate crisis and all the catastrophes. Everything is a crisis. There's this whole sense of victimhood, and they're looking to belong. And so what the left have very cleverly done, I think, is they've taken that anxiety in that age group and weaponised it into ideology. And they've said, you have a home here in the left and the far left. And that's what we've seen happen. And look, the Conservatives really have to try to figure this out because, in 2022, they had their lowest women vote of all time. So if they don't try to work out how do we crack this, how do we work out what is happening in our universities, how do we give these women a real alternative, then I don't know how they get that women vote back.
Joe, here's a hospital pass to a bloke being asked to make wild generalisations about women. Why are young women suddenly more likely than young men to be of the left?
Look, it is a great question, and as I know, despite my youthful good looks, I'm not in fact a 20-something female. I'm a 49-year-old man. I'm about to turn 50 this year, God help me. But I can mansplain it for you, Andrew. And that's because the nature of what the left is changing. For me, what I see as the sort of gold standard of the left, I don't even like using the word anymore, but of Labor politics was that Hawke-Keating era, which was firmly focused on economic outcomes, on managing the economy well, managing the economy for ordinary people, ordinary working people, deregulating the economy and doing things that the Libs had in fact wanted to do for a long time and had no choice but to support every step of the way. But also, reaching things like the Accord where you would, say, right, we're going to pull back on wage demands, but we're going to provide you with a safety net in terms of health or welfare or education, whatever it may be. That, I think, now has kind of almost been taken for granted. And now I think young people are looking to whatever is left or politics itself to define what their values are. And it's telling that the case study that they used in this article didn't actually say that she was pro-Labor or her and her friends were pro-Labor. They said they were all anti-Dutton. So it's actually not about the policies. It's not about, okay, well, how is this going to improve my life on a practical level? It's about expressing my values and what even more than what I approve of, but what I disapprove of. So there is, the left is, I suppose, the young modern left is united by what they hate. And I suspect it's things like Peter Dutton, Israel, and indeed sexism and misogyny. And that's why there's a split between women and men, because one of these sort of cultural touchstones is that, that women are oppressed, that the patriarchy is holding them back, that, that toxic masculinity is destroying, that perhaps even that there aren't even two set sexual sexes. So, and men are going, what?
Yeah, it's fear.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But Lisa, I wonder, I'm going to pick up on something Lisa said, which chimes into something I read, which is this, look, women you can't get away from the fact that women women have the children. They're out of action for a while when they're pregnant. They're more vulnerable, have been for eons, and they look to communal security more. And we're living in an age where everything is a scare, particularly the global warming scare. So that might hit women harder than young men. I don't know. But Lisa, to safer grounds, now that I can stop generalising myself about women, to the condolence motion. Yeah, I did. I hid behind you. Yeah. You might have noticed. The condolence motion today, Lisa, it struck me that politicians still hasn't worked out that mass immigration identity politics has destroyed any idea of there being, an us, when you say us Australians. We're in tribes now. Here's the Prime Minister today talking as if we are all as one. Here he is.
We make it clear to every Jewish Australian, you are not alone. All Australians stand with you.
In fact, all Australians don't agree with what the Prime Minister said. Some extremist Muslims don't. They're not with the Jews. And nor are many on the hard left, Lisa. In fact, one artist, taxpayer-funded, Matt Chun, even wrote this article, "We don't mourn fascists," referring to the Bondi massacre. It seems to me we are confronting the fragmentation of Australia and the way government funds extremists.
Look, I think for a very long time we all heard about diversity, inclusion. We all have to have this great mixed Australia. But what we now need to focus on is unity. And I know you were going to raise it coming up, but Australia Day is just around the corner. There has never been a more important time to proudly fly the Australian flag and to actually say we value what this country stands for and our culture and what it is to be Australian. And I had a young person just the other night say to me, if you fly the Australian flag, you're a racist. That's what we're up against. And not far from here, from this studio in Sydney, a woman was overheard in a coffee shop this morning just saying she had friends who were overseas, and can you believe it? They were still talking about that Bondi massacre. Like, they just need to move on. Quote unquote, this was the Jewish marketing machine in full control. And so while you have that in this city and in this country, how do you possibly have a Prime Minister standing up saying we need to have unity, we need to be united? Like, that's what I can't get my head around. The city is
Joe,
still
I'm almost
feeling.
out of time. I agree.